Basketball season is over. What a great season it was. Lots of great players from all around the area. Let's take a look at JTV Sports Picks for Players of the Year. Nick Schaefer, Hanover Horton, senior point guard. What you see is what you get with senior Nick Schaefer. He is one of the hardest working kids in the area. Nick was reliable every night for the Comets, averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals per game. Schaefer had a hand in 61 career victories for Hanover Horton, which is second most in the school's history. During his time spent out on Moscow Road, Nick was part of a conference championship, 3 district championships, and 2 regional championships. Nick ranks 15th on the all-time scoring list and second all-time in assists for the Comets. Coach Chad Mortimer said, "Nick had a great career at Hanover Horton, and he was the leader of our team." Virgil McGuire, Jackson, junior point guard. Probably the best defender in the area, Virgil was a coach on the floor for the Vikings this season. McGuire's highlight was hitting 2 free throws with 4 seconds left in the district final against Ann Arbor Pioneer, sending the game into overtime and giving Jackson the momentum needed to pull out the win. He averaged 10 points, 5 assists, and 4 steals a game. Coach Lauder says, "This young man has what it takes to be a great leader. His skill, his desire, his work ethic, and even his charisma help him become a young man that others are willing to follow into battle." Virgil had one of his best defensive seasons ever as he set a new school record in steals. He also hit big shots and big free throws to help us snatch victory from the jaws of defeat many times. Only a junior, Virgil has a chance to add to his Jackson legacy in 2009. Jacob Wild, Hanover Horton Jr., forward. Jacob proved he was a big-time performer this year in hitting big shots all season long for the Comets. The tough-minded junior, who wears his emotions on his sleeve, had big games this year against Hillsdale and Napoleon. Wild averaged 13 points a game and also pulled down over 4 boards per contest. He can play inside and outside and is not afraid of taking the big shot in tight games. Coach Chad Mortimer says, "Jake is a versatile player who can do a lot of things offensively. He really grew up on the defensive end this season, and I expect Jake to be a force next year." Andrew Van Valen, Western senior center. As one of the area's tallest basketball players, Van Valen was a solid force in the middle for the Panthers. The 6'6" big man nearly averaged a double-double with 10.5 points per game to go along with 9.4 rebounds per game. He also led the team with 60 block shots. In a comeback year of sorts, Western leaned on Van Valen to a solid finish in a tough SMAA conference. Andrew said the highlight of his career was dunking in a win at Lumen Christi early in the season. Marshawn Norris, Napoleon, junior shooting guard. Sitting out the first 10 games of the season due to transfer rules, Norris burst onto the Cascades Conference scene in his first game of the season at rival Hanover Horton High School. Marshawn scored nearly every time he touched the ball in the second half and kept pace throughout the season. Averaging 16.6 points per contest, he was one of the area's most prolific scorers. In only 14 games, he buried 39 three-pointers and had 39 steals and dished out 38 assists. If Marshawn works hard this summer, his senior season could be one for the record books. Jordan Craig, Michigan Center junior point guard. One of the co-captains of the Michigan Center Cardinals, Jordan excelled at his point guard position. Number 23 averaged over 12 points per game, had 44 rebounds, 61 assists, and 42 steals. The leader of the Cardinals had one of his biggest games when they upset Hanover Horton early in the season. Jordan has worked hard to bring out his basketball skills and make his teammates better players. Look out for Jordan next year as the top point guard in the Cascades Conference. DeMarcus Boysaw, Jackson, senior forward. Boysaw was vital all year to the Vikings' success. When DeMarcus was on his game, he looked like one of the best players in the state. The first-team CAAC member was also voted MVP of the Vikings by his teammates. The 6'6" Boysaw averaged 10 points and 8.5 rebounds per game. Coach Lauder says DeMarcus has grown in so many ways. His defensive intensity has gotten better, his offensive skill set is good and is still getting better. But the most growth from DeMarcus has been his leadership. Always a quiet kid with a soft-spoken demeanor, DeMarcus became more of a vocal leader and has come full circle as an example that his teammates can follow. Eric Austin, Jackson Christian, junior forward. After Jackson Christian went 25-1 in 2007, there were some unanswered questions with how the Royals would compete in 2008. Junior Eric Austin helped answer those questions, leading his team to a successful season. In 22 games, Austin averaged a double-double. He scored 427 points this season and had 260 rebounds. Eric was not afraid to take games over by himself this season, throwing in a couple 30-point performances. Austin was also a strong defender for Coach Bob Stanton's team. He can shoot, he can score, and he will be one of the top players in Jackson next season. Sean Gallant, Lumen Christi, junior center. Sean had a strong year for the Titans. Every game, he drew the tough defensive assignment of guarding the opponent's big men in the outstanding Capital Area Activities Conference Red Division. Gallant was a 53% shooter from the field and averaged 6 boards a game. He had a career-high 18 points against Lansing Eastern that included an 8-for-8 effort from the foul line. Coach Dan Crowley says Sean has the capability of being a very good scorer both inside and outside. With some hard work in the weight room, Sean could be a force next season. John Curtis, Napoleon senior point guard. As one of the Cascades Conference most studied players, Curtis led his Napoleon Pirates to an outstanding 21-3 season, highlighted by a district and conference title. Being the team's unquestioned leader, Curtis was counted on by Coach Jim Dutton as an extension of the coaching staff on the floor. The Napoleon veteran ended his senior season by averaging almost 11 points per game to go along with 3.5 assists a night, adding himself to the list of Napoleon basketball greats. Daryl Stinson, Jackson, senior power forward. Daryl had a spectacular career at Jackson High, finishing off his senior season by leading his team to their first conference title since 1993 and first district title since 2004. Stinson, a three-time CAAC first-team unanimous pick, led the Vikings with 13 points and 9 rebounds per game. Coach Tracy Lauder says, "You won't always see it by looking at him, but Darryl is a fierce competitor who hates losing. He's worked hard and put in the time to become a well-rounded player. He has won games for us in a variety of ways with his defense, his offense, his rebounding, and sometimes with his sheer presence. He set a new school record in block shots, and he is clearly one of the best to ever play in the post at Jackson High." Darryl Stinson, the JTV Sports Player of the Year.